Thank you all for meeting with me. You're all doing some wonderful work destroying the world, but I think it's probably time for us to reevaluate.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, but I think we're in the wrong meeting. We're not here to destroy the world. We're here to save it. You see, we are some of the leading leaders of liberal causes, and I'm with the Human Rights Campaign, who focus on LGBTQ plus and trans rights. You see, I have the equal sign to let you know that I'm a good person.
Oh, excuse me, women's reproductive rights.
Climate.
Free Palestine. Open borders.
I misspoke before. You guys are not destroying the world, okay? You are saving the world.
Hey, whoa, what's up with those scare quotes?
Pretty sure I didn't use scare quotes when I said saving the world.
Again.
The important thing to keep in mind is that there's a big election coming up, and you and I, we're all on the same page, okay? So if we want Biden to win, he needs to win in order for us to save the world. If we want Biden to win, you folks, how can I say this? You might need to tone it down just.
Tone down what?
Oh, that's a good question. You're women's reproductive rights, right? Okay. Excellent branding, by the way. It's much easier on the ears than baby murder. So kudos to you on that one. But opposing any restrictions all the way through to the 9th month, I mean, you see how you're kind of tipping your hand, right? Makes people think, wait, maybe they actually want to kill babies. And we do, obviously.
No, we don't.
Oh.
No, we don't. We don't.
Right. We don't. But you see how it can kind of look that way. So that's all I'm saying. Let's tone it down. And you, immigration, clearly we don't want a completely open border that undermines any sense of national sovereignty, driving down wages for the working class and overtaxing the welfare state. So let's go a bit easy there too. I mean, why not something like this? Why not something like, diversity is our...
Are you trying to say diversity is our strength?
Yes! How do you say that without laughing? Oh my gosh. I can't even get through it. This is aide-moi. My sides. My goodness. Okay, what about you? Pro-Palestine. You are, I'm going to say this. You're kind of coming across like you just want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
We do want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
Of course, yes. And that's awesome. I'm all for that. I love that. But you need to pretend like you don't want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
Why?
Excuse me?
I mean, we're pretty clear in our position, and most young people and everyone on college campuses, and half the Democratic Party, of course, still support us.
Yeah, it's cool now.
You may have a point there. You might be the only person in here that can be as evil as you want to be and get away with it. All right, still, let's think about tactics. Okay, do you think that occupying bridges and blocking traffic is somehow winning people over to your cause?
Yeah, and making people hate us by blocking traffic is our thing. He's stealing our thing!
You're not stealing your thing. You must die. We will kill you all.
See, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, okay, I love the homicidal thing that you got going on there. I really dig it, okay? But maybe market it just a little bit differently. Like the serial killer that everyone thinks is such a sweet guy, He's got 27 bodies in the basement, but he's like, coaching Little League. That's what I want. Be that guy.
Death to America.
The funny thing is, you don't even look Middle Eastern. Am I wrong, people? Am I wrong?
I'm not. I actually grew up on Long Island, but my parents sent me to college. Death to America.
HRC guy, you have been going over the top as well.
Well, it's important for us, they, them, to be accepted just like everyone else.
Yes, of course. And convincing people that they're intolerant for not wanting men to get naked in women's locker rooms. I guess that's genius. I mean, come on, it's next level stuff. All right, but insisting that your children be mutilated. I mean, come on, it's turning people off, you guys. I mean, not everyone, obviously, but until the election, can we just all pretend for a few months not to be crazy, lunatic, homicidal extremists?
Extremist? No, it's my body, my Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump.
You will obey me. Sorry. Glad we're all on the same page, though. So, how do you...
I love that. That's one of the best bits, I think, that the Babylon Bee has ever done. That's why I play it. It's kind of so true, right? Everybody thinking they're righteous and noble when they're actually doing things that are destructive, right? And there's new ones like, it's the Jews, which is running rampant. I'm surprised how many, what I used to think are good people now participate in that. By the way, will you give us the finger? I know I have my haters who will give me the finger, but you use that finger to like and share and follow and make sure you do this. We're going to talk about some very important things. And I'm going to ask you, I want you to start thinking about it. Is there a civil war on the horizon? What would you do? And are you prepared? The question is, do you think, put it in percentages, 100 being absolute, put in chat, do you feel we are headed for civil war? Today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco, who we've partnered with. It's a very simple request, folks. Just go to jovanlovesgold.com. All I want you to do is request your free gold and silver kit today, because now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Yep. Protect your money with gold and silver. I'm telling you, something's coming in a digital changeover. You're going to start noticing more and more places not accepting cash. That is part of the plan. That's how it creeps in. And they're going to get rid of cash and make it, even if you have it stored, worth nothing. Please consider going to jovanlovesgold.com, filling out the information, and getting your free gold and silver kit. Part of the crap we're going to talk about today is how is you prepared. And remember, any of my books out there that I've written to prepare you, such as Food Forest. Think of planting a garden one time, and then it continually kind of regenerates itself, feeding your family. Now think about this has been done. It's biblical. And the longest ongoing one, feeding a village, has been doing its thing for 4,000 years. You're lucky if some of your plants survive 4 days, much less 4,000 years. So I've written books about it, how to do it, revive the knowledge for food security. But just make sure, really make sure, folks, on any of my books, you see my name. Don't get fooled by just the quick look and the cover and the whatever. I made a mistake with the Food Forest Bible by doing the ebook. People cracked the ebook, then did their version. It's nowhere near like ours, but they copied the cover and the name. You can't copyright a name in a book, by the way. And run with it. And I just don't want you to fall for that. The reason we're having this discussion today is because quietly under the radar, even after the election, they have added and got Kamala up over 75 million votes. What that does is it backwards justifies the BS with Biden so they can forever control our elections. That basically means she was far more popular than Obama or Hillary. That's the fingerprint. That's the middle FU in the system right there, flipping you off. But how do you go from 68 million votes on election night to continually updating it 15 months later to over 75 million? This is why we have to talk about this. So we're going to be talking about a civil war on the horizon. I'm going to share some interesting things with you might not know about. Please share this program right now. I cannot stress how important it is. Share this program right now. We'll get started right after these brief messages.
Exposing the ancient secrets of royalty to grow giant fruit in small spaces. You won't believe how easy it is. Hey there, fellow gardeners. Have you heard about Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's new blockbuster book, Ancient Secret for Growing Giant Fruit in Small Spaces? It's taking Amazon by storm. This isn't just any gardening book. We're talking about ancient methods once reserved for kings and queens, now revealed to the world. Yes, you heard right. Royal secrets for your backyard. Struggling with limited space? No problem. This book teaches you groundbreaking techniques to grow enormous, luscious fruits, even in the smallest of spaces. Imagine tricking fruit trees to bear fruit in months, not years, and growing produce up to 100% larger than what you find in stores. Sounds like magic, right? Pulitzer dives deep into history, uncovering how nobility ensured bountiful harvests. Now, these time-tested secrets are yours to transform your home garden into a paradise fit for royalty. Whether you're an urban dweller, a new homeowner, or an experienced gardener, this book has something for you. It's packed with practical tips and easy-to-follow methods. From enriching soil to perfect pruning techniques, you'll be growing giant fruits in no time. So why wait? Grab your copy of Ancient Secret for Growing Giant Fruit in Small Spaces now and start your journey to garden greatness.
Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. Not fixing 2020.
Warning. The following program has been rated Dilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, guys, welcome to the program. Here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about civil war on the horizon. What will you do? What do you think? Put it in chat, especially if you're on X or Facebook or whatever can do. Let me know what you think about civil war. Our friend down under Zod knows that civil war is what they want. Then they can implement martial law. Do not kill each other. They are the problem looking for solutions. You're 100% correct, my friend. And you're right. Nachos. It's not a war. It's their war. And China would love if, in fact, we had a civil war. And that's what we're going to talk about in totality here. But I think you need to understand a few things that are going on. What do we call it? Do we call it reading the tea leaves, right? Is that what it is? Reading the tea leaves? We've got to be able to see what's up. Well, I'm going to tell you what you need to do is you need to be able to read some of the things that is going on in other states. Well, let me, here, I'm going to give it to you. So, you know, I tell you the war right now is about And I started telling you this years ago. Number one, we are at war. Whether you like it or not, we're at war. It might not be a conventional war. It's fought differently these days, and people don't recognize it as war, but it's a full-fledged freaking world war. I told you in all this mess that they have everybody chasing their tails in, you're going to have to begin drawing that demarcation line at your front door and your back door. Period. Your front door and your back door. And you're going to have to worry about defending your own domain in this because you're the only one that's going to do it. Now, if you watch what's going on right now, especially with Arizona, especially with all the evidence coming out, especially with the seizures of data, both in Fulton and in Fulton, Georgia, Maricopa County, you've seen the system go into overdrive trying to dispute everything that we found in the audit or everything that's been said, especially this fellow, the data guru, right, in Arizona. They're trying to get their message back out that none of this happened. It's not true. And here's why, although they won't openly debate it. At the same time, you're going to see attacks once again on myself and once again on my team to make it look bad. They need everybody to stay away from the data. They need everybody to believe the narrative. But luckily, folks, you've kept it alive. Because, if we don't fix our elections, we have no hope of saving our country. And right now, there's no parties. There's uniparty. You either love America and want America to survive, or you hate America and you want America to die. There is no parties. There are no party lines. There are no parties. There's no lawmaker that's going to take care of you. You better get your head straight about that. You better learn to instruct your lawmakers. Like, I wonder how many of you, when I showed you how to get rid of Thune and replace him as a speaker and do it, and the process to do it, how many of you did that? I know how many of you said, I'm going to do that. How many of you really did it? I put it out. I put it on my Telegram, everywhere else, to show you how to do it. Now, one of the things I think you should really be paying attention to is, states follow states. They choose a test bed. I'll give you an example. If you were to look at Oregon and Washington, that's where they tested mail-in ballots only and drop boxes. They always test it first. They run all of their traps in a test bed before they roll it out across the nation. And then they'll say, well, look, they're doing it and they saved money and whatever. And it's all just a crap. Well, look at those states. They're lost. Liberal strongholds, they're lost. They know what they're doing. One of the things I think you should be concerned of, if you live there, if you happen to live there, I used to live there long ago, but you should be worried coming to your states. Right now, Virginia is a state that by their constitution, you have the right for gun ownership, and it's protected, of course, by the U.S. Second Amendment and the Virginia Constitution. However, these guys, they play to win. This month, just a few days ago, the Virginia General Assembly passed Senate Bill 749, SB 749, which was House Bill 217. They passed it. And I want to give you the exact words. It bans the sale, manufacture, import, purchase, and transfer of assault firearms. What they did in that bill, which passed, I'm not telling you go to push back on something. Spanberger, and that was where they brought in the AG who said Republicans should be killed and whatever. Listen to these words, because it's more devious than you can imagine. Ban the sale, manufacture, import, and purchase or transfer of assault firearms. Now, first off, they've done their work posing things as assault weapons. You get that? Assault weapons. Okay? Artistic happy birthday. If I was there, I would either jump out of the cake or let you rub the cake all over me and we'd celebrate all day long. Happy birthday, dear. Anyway, assault firearms. When you get into the bill and you read it, because now they've done their hype about assault firearms, then they get down to the definition, and it is semi-automatics. Semi-automatic center fire rifles, pistols, and shotguns. Get ready for this. And it's considered an assault rifle if you have pistol grips. It's considered an assault weapon if you have folding stocks. It's considered an assault weapon if you have threaded barrels. Think about that. And it's considered an assault weapon if you have a large capacity magazine. Now, that's what they defined it as, generally 15 rounds or more. Now, get ready for this. Part of the hooey-dooey in this is, yeah, you can have a 15-round magazine, but if you have a second 15-round magazine and you just swap it instead of reloading that one, if you have the ability just to swap it, everybody does, that makes it an assault weapon. You understand that 30 rounds is the standard. What they did is they neutered everything. Sends chills down my spine, makes me angry. But this is why I even am doing this program today, because what they just did is they laid down the gauntlet. It's coming. They have laid down the gauntlet basically in the state where the nation's capital is, although it's DC, but you understand what I'm saying. They've laid down the terms. It has passed. The governor will sign it, period. Right? Period. It even includes you can't make your own guns. It even includes they've expanded the requirements. You can't carry it in your car, how you have to have it stored. They don't store it for kid safety. People who truly have guns and are responsible around guns, their kids don't pick up those guns or go around them. You know that, I know that. So why do they want them locked up? Which they defined the definition locked up more. So you can't haul ass and get to them when you need them. Okay? It's expanded red flag provisions. It's expanded background checks, etc. It's gone further than you can ever imagine. Now, here's the deal. What it does is it makes you a criminal, one, if you sell them. So right now, every gun manufacturer in the United States will do pistol grips, pug stocks, etc. They're now all criminals in the state of Virginia eyes. If you manufacture those items, any of the modification kits, they just made you a criminal in the state of Virginia. If you import those items, you're an importer. In the state of Virginia, you're a criminal. See, they covered every single base. Not only those who sell it, but those who manufacture it and those who import it, because a lot of the stuff comes from China. Now, the other two are, and this is key, if you purchase it, you are a criminal. Get ready. If you have them right now, there's certain grandfather things. They're going to keep on working them. If you have them and you say, I'm going to sell them and get more guns that are within the law. If you sell your gun, you now have two violations. You sold it and now you transferred ownership. You are a double felon. So I want you to understand that. That's here. It's not conjecture anymore. It is past. When you consider that, and I'm telling you, if you're a Texan like Steph, That's huge. I'm telling you, even, and again, huge chills down my spines. When Virginia passes it, they're paving the way for the wording, and they've left nothing to chance. They've left nothing to chance. What others states that are Democratic stronghold will do is they will begin this legal disarmament. You're right, just because they pass it doesn't make it constitutional. But the only thing that's going to undo it is cases going to the Supreme Court of the state, which they're packing. We got to understand this is all systematic plan, and they're very patient. This is one of the indicators that we're headed to civil war. Okay? And you're going to be able to expect many, many, many more of these coming out of Virginia because of Spanberger and others. And Spanberg is one of these ones that in the system, they've recycled through people in almost every state that when a Democrat turns out or they want to get Democrat control, check their backgrounds, they're putting in people that are all ex-CIA. Think about that one. Think about that one. Now, if we were doing a risk assessment at this very moment, asking the question, what is no substitution in the Second Amendment. You're right. But see, they bank on fighting it out in a court. They don't care. They'll do what they want because they'll say it's state law. Sue me if you don't like it. And, a couple of years later, you're in the Supreme Court there and you got to work at it. So let's talk about what's going on right now from a particular odds assessment. If we were looking at an odds assessment of, do you feel, for whatever reason, we will go to a civil war? And again, I'm going to ask this question. Please put it in chat. I want to share it. What percent do you think, put it in chat right now, X and Facebook or Twitch would be really good. I'll pop it up on the screen. What percent do you personally believe we are headed towards civil war? Okay. And you're right. Great Depression wasn't bad because people had houses and land to grow food on. You're right. Now imagine if it happened now. 65%, 15%, 50%, 89%. Most Americans, there's a few over here, 5.56%, 7.62%, etc. Most people, we had a 10%, a 20%, a 23% over on Rumble. The majority of it all averages out another 20% or 35%. Or nationally right now, it averages out that 40% of Americans believe that a civil war is going to have. We got a 50, we've got a 10%, etc. We got a 20%, we got a 0%. That's why I'm asking this question. Do you think there is a civil war on the horizon, and what will you do? And I'm going to show you some series of videos that I think you should be aware of because I want to get your mind in sync. Okay? I want to get your mind in sync. The number one trigger, I want you to think about this. In doing a risk assessment, what will almost assuredly trigger a civil war? Let me ask a different question real quick before I give you some stats. What percent of you believe the system, the deep state, the bad guys want a civil war? It's a little bit different question. What percent of you believe that the system, that the bad guys, that the deep state, that all the bad people, what percentage do you believe they actually want a civil war? So we got an 85%, 75%, 100%. See, 100%, 100%, 100%, 60%, 100%, 100. You know they want a civil war. Let me give you the risk assessment of what would, from this day forward, actually trigger a second civil war. Number one on the list that would be an absolute trigger: another disputed election. Now, nothing's changed in our elections. A second disputed election. What would be the second trigger that could trigger, and by the way, they need it more than they want it. You're right, Peaches. They need it more than they want it. What would be the second thing that would almost assuredly, this day forward, trigger a second world war? Assassination or attempted assassination of a major political figure. You heard people saying they don't think President Trump's going to make his term out. The third trigger, most likely to cause a second civil war, and all of these are very high risk assessment. I gave you the highest, which was another bad election. I'm giving you a ranking order from highest to very high down. Another very high is, ready for this? Literally, this is all the security data, looking at everything, AI analyzing it. What would it be? Ready for this? A federal versus state confrontation over enforcement of immigration. Any of these sound familiar? On the high or medium high, somebody says, I wonder this is why administrations are now living on military bases. In the high or medium high category, it's a mass casualty event, but specifically, ready? A mass casualty event that happens at a protest. Number 5 is a constitutional crisis, or as equal, this is medium high, defiance of court rulings. Think of Arizona right now telling everybody in the elections that are getting subpoenas and stuff, do not comply. Medium level risk, number 6, is just economic shock, etc. Now, those are in the hierarchy. Where do you think are the places that if you had to look at, where would this civil war start? Or where would they focus it to start? Where would civil war start? Put it in chat. Tell me the state you believe, and we'll put it in chat. The state you believe, right? Here's what you're, Kearney, right? Am I saying that right? Kearney? All of those things are happening. What I just read you, they're all in play. You're not really thinking, oh, that won't happen. All in play. Here's where people think it. DC, Virginia, Kearney, even though asked the question, Texas. Lee says Texas, right? Kearney says red state. Kelsey says Texas. Arizona. Here is statistically where the initial shots that lead to the second civil war in the United States of America, reading all the trends, analyzing it based on it, is Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and Texas. Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and Texas. Right? Now, what's really interesting is when you look at these things, when you look at Minnesota, I watch Minnesota and I watch how the left is stoking the fire, and the left got people killed. Well, remember I told you there that one of them could be a mass casualty event at a protest. So Minnesota is likely the state where the left would stage some sort of protest and something break out, there'll be mass casualties. Now, on the other side, Pennsylvania and Texas, you have old school and you have out west. In Pennsylvania, old school, where Pennsylvania state has been abusing people like the Quakers or the people that are growing food and mass farmers taking lands and stuff, that's a state where they say, screw you, we're not going to let you do it. So there is a very high chance in Pennsylvania. And then you think of Texas, leave me alone, let me live my life, and we'll just call it Wild West, surrounded by mosque more than any other state. None of these are a coincidence. None of these are a coincidence. That's the setup. You got to understand the numbers bear this out. Put it in chat. I want you to be honest. If, in fact, a civil war breaks out in the United States of America, second civil war, answer the question honestly. We don't need bravado, assholism, any of that. Are you prepared? Now, when I say are you prepared, I'm not talking about to get in the streets, put on your bandana, fly flag, find somebody to blow the flute and little kid to play the drum, and off you go to fight. Can you weather it? Can you weather it? I already have Kelsey's in perpetuity sex slave contract signed, so you're actually covered here at the compound, Kelsey. But are you prepared? Nacho says yes. Jane says yes. Laura says no. Henry says spiritually yes. Craig says yes. Kelsey says, I'm in. Can I come now early and just start practice? Yes, in Oklahoma. Yes, in Kearney. Yes, in Gabe's grandma. No, in Oklahoma. Yes, in Deborah. Okay. Just so you know, Kelsey's just letting me know her legs are shaved already. Kearney, you're invited too. Jan, not so much. Okay. Think about this. That was my first start. You know me so well. You wide the left leg and the right leg. Did you skip everything in between? I hope not. But anyway, I want you to understand, folks, come on. We're family here. Ooh, that sounds incestuous, doesn't it? But you understand what I'm saying, right? Laura says she doesn't know what a modern civil war will look like, and that's literally exactly what I want to address today. Okay? Civil war, by default, are very localized. Civil war, by default, is very localized. Okay? It's not going to, well, there'll be some, but not like you think conventional war, tanks and rockets and grenade launchers and all of this stuff. Somebody's asking, is it a civil war if we have to fight illegals only? That's a damn good question, right? Damn good question. So that's my question. Are you prepared? What will you do? And do you think this is coming? With that said, I want to show you some other things that are god dingity ding dang. When we start talking about Kelsey's shaved bead, I lose control of my video. Okay, here, you're going to see a pump and dump in a minute. No, I'm not. Well, I got to hang on. I'm sorry this happened. You're going to see me blink out for a sec. I am so sorry when that happens. I do not know what it is. I think it's the AI I've built into my system. And when Kelsey said she was going to shave everything for us, I think my system kind of went dreaming on its own, and it wonked my system, and I couldn't switch any of my controls. It has a mind of its own. Okay, I'm back. Let's start unpacking this. But the first thing, I want to give you a little twist. Right now, out of Austin, Texas, there's a company called Icon, okay, that is looking to change the housing market. And they say they use incredible technology to do it. And you know, we have a deficit of 5 million houses in the United States of America. What they did is they concrete poop homes. Their advancement in building is to use a giant printer that prints soft poo serve concrete. They're not very attractive. They're not very efficient, but people are buying them. Now, what I think about this, I'm going to show you something that came about in the 30s, 1930. Basically came about 100 years ago. That we're getting close to 100 years. 100 years ago, yeah, there are 5 million lacking of homes in the United States of America right now to buy that could be filled up, and it's creating bidding on homes and a deficit of home. And I think that's part of it because they're forcing people to renting. But anyway, it's a concrete poo home. I call it the poo house because it just, nice little soft serve poo. It's not even solid, won't float, sink right to the bottom, if you know what I mean. And it just kind of prints a home, right? It's 3D, and it looks exactly like it's a printed home. So I don't really think it's a technology solution. But what I want to show you is I want to show you something back in time in the 1930s that came out, and the system said, no way it'll work, no way it'll catch on, and the system killed it. Watch this. No, they're not tilling a garden. This is 3D printed home 1930 style. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. The thermal mass is great, but that's a true fact. But the system ran them out of town. Now, and by the way, I do believe, Kearney, am I saying that right? Phonetically spell it out for me, dear. The system had the illegals come in, let them suck up the houses. It's all by design. We've had solutions to these crises for a very long time. And the system has always stopped it. And then they come back and they bring it back like it's new. And all the big institutional investors like BlackRock and stuff are in it. That's all by design. Like, have you followed Tesla at all? Or you followed any of you have EV cars or whatever the case may be, right? Any of you have EV? Kearney, thank you. Kearney, got it. Have any of you, do you have a battery-powered car? Have you seen a battery-powered car in Tesla? When did the first battery-powered cars, not that caught your notice, but when did they first come off the line? When did they first get made? Battery-powered car. Do you know? Yeah, there's a Jovan. I've seen those. Those are great. When did the first cars come off the line? Dina says 1971. I remember that one. A good family friend of mine had one. It was the little triangular contraption, right? Kelsey says in 1953, I hear great things about the Revan or Vane or however it's said. I hear great things. Somebody said 1920, somebody said 1913. Here's the deal. The first electric car or coach rolled off the line in 1840. In 1832. He made them from 1832 to 1839. A Scottish fellow, electric carriages. In 1835, Thomas Davenport was the first one to do it in the United States of America. In 1859, we had the rechargeable lead acid battery. It's what made them more practical. Through the 1800s and 1900s, they spread across the United States. The taxis used to be this way. And basically, when they pulled up to a filling station, they would just pop the batteries, put a next one in and go. But see, now they want to control the battery, so you can't do it. You'd pull up, they just swap out a battery. Okay, boom, 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 and you pay a battery fee. It was all over the place. But what did they do? The system beat them down and sold gasoline instead. We've had things that can save our ass for a very long time. So the mode I'm going to get you to right now, and I want you to pay attention and please stay with me because you're going to need to see some of these things. Because in face of a civil war, I want you to understand, even if it comes, we've weathered this stuff before, we have the ability to survive this. But let me show you the physics of why I do what I do. Watch this. So this is a metronome. You see it's on cans. The cans move just because of sheer movement. You see every metronome is out of sync. So imagine the cans as our world being unstable, right? But with consistency, watch the metronomes. Even though they were all out of sync, they will eventually get in sync. There you go. Everything we're dealing with depends on us. Look at that. Everything we're dealing with depends upon us getting in sync. It's science, folks. It is how it works. Their job is to throw everything out of sync. This is science. This is God at work. You think of our earth, you think of all the moving things we deal with, all the moving things in our life. And what they do is they take the foundation of our life and they want to shake it out and destroy it. And they got to keep people fighting about a lot of different things. Remember how many people when we had the pandemic and you get total fuckwads coming up and coming around, I'm now the sheriff of the Republic of Texas. We've declared we are a republic and I'm the sheriff. All that just theater, costume play shit, Q shit, all this other shit. Everything is for distraction. What they cannot afford is us getting in sync. When I do this in our program like this, I am just trying to get everybody in sync. We don't have to agree. And we can all speak different tunes, different ways, and literally have a different freaking beat and frequency. But just being around each other and discussing this in a moving world, God gets us all in sync. Watch again. Before timing it, listen, everything they do is designed around all of us not listening to each other, all of us not sharing, all of us not taking time to reflect, because everybody's kind of got their own case, their own cause. It says they're wearing red shoes, they're pedophiles, 7 rays of light outside of their head. God speaks to us all the time. And the rest of this program, I'm going to remind you we can do this and we can get through it. Now, this is very key to what I've been putting out for several years. The first, you've seen me do the Food Forest Bible, and I'm going to show you some cool videos. You can get softbound or hardbound. This is biblical knowledge that goes back thousands of years of where you plant your garden once and it will always supply for you. Literally, it's a super high def, special coated paper because it's made for you to take it outside. I even teach you, don't use pesticides. Here are the bugs you attract to kill the other bugs that eat your plants. God even designed those weapons. God designed those weapons. There are even assassin bugs, and you look at them and you stomp them. No, God put them there to eat the ones that eat his abundance for you. But the system pushed us away for it. So I basically tell you, how do you do this? How do you design them? What do you do, etc.? How do you plant these things? Everything. Everything's here. I give you even all kinds of samples from other people. This is the one that they cloned. Make sure you don't get the clone because you don't get everything in this super high def book. You got to make sure you got my name on the bottom of it. This is why I started heading this direction. Reviving the ancient knowledge. I even did different techniques. I'll give you an example. One certain plant might serve a function as a medicine plant, as an eating plant, as a bug repellent plant, or a bug attracting plant. You'll see that same plant maybe pop up in 10 chapters in this book, but I didn't do it like you have to go to the back and index. I put it in the chapter. So you'll see it recurring because you work on this a single chapter at a time. But you can do this. There are examples out there. It's how the ancients lived. It's how they provided for themselves. We didn't have grocery stores until the late 50s, folks. You got to understand this. We did it ourselves. I revived that ancient knowledge. It's also doable in fruits. Most people don't have the patience for fruits. But what I did in this book is I revived many different things. Let me just find it. I revived many different things in here that'll help you grow fruits faster instead of waiting 4 and 5 and 6 years. Most people don't even know. Do you know, even if you were planting something like a wisteria, you're like 5, 6, 7 years away from that thing blooming. I put it all in here so you can understand what to do it by design, etc., but also how to hack the fruit. You might be going right now looking online and you want a mature fruit tree to have it come out fast. Those can be $200 even for a small thing. I teach you how to have that mature, instant producing fruit tree that will produce in months or at least the next season, and it's ready to go and it starts producing mature fruit. And I show you how to do it for $1. A tree you'd pay $200 for. How to do it for $1. Smart people will take that system, follow it, and start selling those trees for $60 a piece and print your retirement money because you can. I teach you that in this book. And then for the people that really don't want to dig or pull weeds, that's why I did this version, no dig gardening. They're all hardbound and softbound. I do the hardbound because I expect you to take the design plans and stuff outside with you and do them and understand what you're doing. That's why I do it. And I of course, I use a lot of imagery. I want you to see it, but that's what this is our Making Life Easier series, etc. Okay. This is the ancient secret for growing giant fruit in small spaces. This will work in your backyard. And by the way, you can do a food forest in your backyard or with land. The reason I do that, folks, is it's coming. And we've forgotten this. And if you don't believe we've forgotten it, you take a Generation Zer, let them have a flat, they can't change it. You take a Generation Zer, have a massive car wreck, somebody's bleeding lady on the street, they'll pull out their fucking phone to record it, opposed to saving the person's life. Or they'll just cry so much they can't cope. Something very dangerous has happened to our society to weaken us, and I believe they weaken us because it's coming. And they took as many people off the field as possible. What I want to do is I want to put you back on the field, but more importantly, I want you to protect your family and everything. So here's kind of what's being done. Here's kind of what I'm showing people. We're going to be the tenor. So hang on.
1/8 of an acre of growing space produces enough vegetables, berries, and herbs to last our family of 6 for the year. We have more land that we use as pasture for our cows and chickens, but our actual garden space...
This is a backyard. Yes, they have land. When you see that abundance of food, it's her backyard.
1/8 of an acre of growing space produces enough vegetables, berries, and herbs to last our family of 6 for the year. We have more land that we use as pasture for our cows and chickens, but our actual garden space could fit into most people's backyards. This year we harvested 213 pounds of sweet potatoes from only 4 raised beds. That's a lot of calories from a very small space. Moral of the story, don't wait to start growing your own food until you have all the acreage you think you need. You can make a huge dent in your family's self-sufficiency goals with just 1 or 2 crops. After all, the true spirit of homesteading is do what you can with what you have.
Do what you can with what you have. So you think it's all running out buying land and whatever. You just got to understand what's going on, and you got to understand the con. Now, right now in our food supply, and a lot of people aren't paying attention, I want to show you how bad the con is between the grower, what the government does, and the retailer. Watch this.
If we sold these right now, we would only get 60 cents for 100 pounds. So we would lose probably $500,000 on this whole seller if we sold the seller right now.
That farmer would get 60 cents for 100 pounds. Walmart charges $60 for the 100 pounds. Who has the leverage? Watch again.
If we sold these right now, we would only get 60 cents for 100 pounds. So we would lose probably $500,000 on this whole seller if we sold the seller right now.
I want you to think about that. What the very people providing our food would get from the system, 60 cents for 100 pound, the system sells for $60. And it's getting worse. Because I think a lot of the attack is in our food system. Let me show you why they're doing it.
In 2020, an exclusive organization for the world's most powerful people, called Stakeholders, enacted a 10-year transition to a global authoritarian political system called stakeholder capitalism.
It's a funeral of shareholder capitalism, and it's a birth of stakeholder capitalism.
You have shown us the way forward.
One of their agendas by 2030 is to own the food supply chain.
Bill Gates became the largest individual owner of farmland.
According to their reports, this is what they want us to eat.
GMO wheat. Can you hang on for 1 second? Wherever you are, your watch, your desktop, your phone, look at the date. What is the date? What's the year? I've been telling you this for a while. In 2030, just around the corner, this is complete. This is why you must move your ass right now to get this fixed in your life.
In 2020, an exclusive organization for the world's most powerful people, called Stakeholders, enacted a 10-year transition to a global authoritarian political system called stakeholder capitalism.
It's a funeral of shareholder capitalism, and it's a birth of stakeholder capitalism.
You have shown us the way forward.
One of their agendas by 2030 is to own the food supply chain.
Bill Gates became the largest individual owner of farmland.
According to their reports, this is what they want us to eat.
GMO wheat, every piece of corn I've ever eaten is GMO corn. So these are things that billions of years of using these products have been done. Anyway, these are proven products.
The stakeholders have an initiative to ban livestock.
Cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. So we need to change cows.
And increase our consumption of
artificial meat, like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
We'll have the convenience of printing it from our homes. Or luckily for us,
today the European Commission has officially declared mealworms to be food.
We can choose real meat that's climate change friendly.
Mealworms, crickets, grasshoppers. These tiny insects, just over 2 centimeters long, could be key to feeding the planet.
As the stakeholders continue to scare us with their climate change propaganda,
climate change. It threatens to tip tens of millions of people over the edge into food insecurity, followed by malnutrition, mass hunger and famine in a crisis that could last for years.
We also expose the World Economic Forum's initiatives.
The Netherlands will host the World Economic Forum Food Innovation Hubs
that are designed to remove ownership of family farms.
This means turfing people off their farms.
Massive farmer protests have broken out around the Netherlands.
Thousands of farmers have been protesting on the outskirts of Delhi.
Trudeau is not alone. Leaders from 4 countries, they want governments like India to scrap farmer-friendly laws.
Good evening. Farmers all over the country walked off the paddock today and took their tractors to town.
Every 5th farmer you see here today will be gone by 2030.
Hundreds of French farmers drove their tractors to Paris.
Last weekend, once again, I had a colleague who killed himself.
You're not the only farmer with this problem.
Farmers are heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken, and they don't know where to turn.
Thousands of farmers from southeast Mercia.
Or from all over Ireland, we have no option. We are not paying carbon tax.
Hundreds of farmers have driven their tractors into the centre of Belgium's capital.
Thousands of farmers from across Germany descended on the city.
When we all have to go, where does the food come from?
Our food security is in grave danger. To watch our free documentary about stakeholder capitalism and help fund an investigation into the stakeholders' plan for acquiring the food supply chain, visit yellow.forum.
It's already happening. It's already here. I'm going to show you some of these. I'm going to show you some of the ways out. I'm going to show you some of the peoples that are basically saying, fuck you to this plan. I'm not down with it.
If we were eating food out of our own region or country even, no multinational would make money. Most people are not even aware that local food is more expensive than not even food, artificial processed food from the other side of the world, or even a banana or an apple that's been transported for thousands of miles will be cheaper in this completely artificial system. The costs are made completely invisible because we've also been told that we're too many people now to go back to the land, and we don't realize that we're being fed by bigger and bigger and bigger monocultures that are disastrous. They're anti-nature. They demand chemicals. They demand essentially a system that is so anti-life that after a certain amount of time, that land becomes a dust bowl, which has happened with industrial agriculture in country after country across the world. When you really step back and look at it, it's such a wasteful system. It creates such inequality and such human and ecological destruction.
So the multinational corporations do control this. They're working in unison with state environmentalists. Here's some of the stuff you're not hearing about that's happening close to you under the radar.
Right now there's a fight going on in Point Reyes. They just shut down a dozen farms, just like that. It's a fight that was going on for the last 8 years, really doubled down on those farmers 2 years ago, and they put a gag order on them, so they couldn't even ask the community to stand up for them.
So they went out like they shut them down, meaning they
done.
Can't even have cows or anything?
they've got to move off the property. They've been there for over 100 years. Those dairies started in 1857. And a lot of the same families have been there the whole time. Our local RCD even came up with money to upgrade the ranches if needed. And the environmental group said no thanks. They wanted to take the land over. And so they forced these farmers to sign an agreement that are pushing them all out. So we're going to lose half of our dairies in Marin County and a bunch of the beef ranches that provide local food.
So where can they go to find out more information about what's going on with these 12 farms, or is there anywhere?
There's not a lot of places. Marin Independent Journal, has done a good job reporting about it. My Instagram, Shalina93 Racing, they can find information. My sister, Dairy Girl Diaries, is on there. America Unwon has been doing a phenomenal job about reporting.
These are happening all around you. And you're going to see the same thing with telling us white supremacists and the environment's dying. A big component of this is it must be controlled and put out by the media. The media plays a huge role in this.
They keep saying we've got the smallest cattle herd in 70 years. Sounds like a crisis, right? Well, that headline leaves out a lot of truth. According to the USDA, the U.S. cattle herd sits around 86.7 million head, the lowest since 1951. But here's what they don't tell you. That's only 1% lower than last year. And cattle today are bigger, heavier, and more efficient than they were 70 years ago. We're producing nearly the same amount of beef with fewer animals. So fewer cows doesn't mean less beef. It means better genetics, better feed, and better management. And yes, sale barn prices are higher right now. That's part true. But that doesn't mean there's a national shortage of cattle. It means supplies a little tighter, and the packers, who control over 80% of all U.S. processing, are fighting harder for finished animals. They use that tight supply as an excuse to push a shortage story that inflates retail prices. And here's how that system really works. The big four, Tyson, JBS, Cargill, and National Beef, control nearly every bottleneck between the ranch and your grocery store. When they slow down kill speeds even slightly, the weekly slaughter numbers drop. And suddenly it looks like there's a beef shortage. Then they tell retailers and the media that supply's low, which justifies raising grocery prices. Meanwhile, they're still exporting huge volumes of beef overseas. So the shortage isn't about production, it's about where the beef goes and who controls it. While consumers pay more, ranchers get squeezed with smaller live cattle margins. Here's another part they never mention. The USDA only counts federally inspected, large-scale operations. They don't include state-inspected plants, custom processors, or direct-to-consumer ranches like ours. That's millions of cattle completely missing from their reports. And every year, more ranchers are leaving the packer system and going decentralized, farm-to-table, local, regenerative. That's why the packers are seeing fewer cattle, because more of us are finally selling direct, keeping that value in our own communities. So no, America didn't run out of cows. We just started taking control back from the corporations that did. The shortage isn't in cattle, it's in honesty.
You better believe it. Explaining a little bit how this racket works, I want you to understand, when you look at those big four, which is JBS, Tyson, Cargill, and National Beef, and they basically control 85+% of the market of meat products. All those meat products have to be processed. 20 years ago, if I wanted to take a cow in, I could call ahead of time. Hey, I got a cow I want to bring in. It might be a day or two. Boom, it goes in, have it processed or whatever. Now, almost unanimously across the U.S., it's a year wait. The whole system's gone upside down. Now, what you find has happened over time is as these four companies have consolidated, their big institutional money, you guessed it, BlackRock, Vanguard, etc., and they are squeezing this down, right? They are squeezing it down. They don't have to buy up the asset. They just have to influence the asset. JBS, right? National Beef, international companies. Yeah. Systems that farming and ranching families that like mine have depended on are getting even further out of our reach. Even further out of our reach. The reason why they're saying farm animals are bad is double clutch, is because they want to control the food so they can control the mass of people. But in cattle, you can create phenomenal wealth. The drama of something like Yellowstone creating incredible wealth because you have cattle, because they replicate and have a price, is very true. I've watched many people start with a few head of cattle and build incredible stability and or wealth. And the system's trying to kill that. And it's that same unholy media between, or unholy trinity, right? Media, academia, etc., politics, that are doing it to us. In that process, they make sure schools or otherwise, they kill some of the simplest. Like, there are simple things you can do at home that you can literally double your food supply at the same exact time and have almost no space. Let me show you one.
What in the world is this? You cut off all my leaves. How am I supposed to soak up the sun now? What is this? This doesn't look like a shoot from a potato plant. Ugh, what's with all these random grafts these days? Whatever grows out of this, I want no part of it.
A few moments later.
Since they're both from the nightshade family, grafting them together works. So you really can grow two different crops from one plant.
That type of simple knowledge is lost. Plant your potatoes, get them started, let them come on up, graft in, which is very easy. You can now watch it anywhere on YouTube or anything. Your tomatoes grow on top, your potatoes grow on the bottom. This type of knowledge, even knowledge of foods, have been taken away because it didn't fit mechanization.
There was once a crop that quietly fed Britain and Europe for thousands of years. It gave both people and animals omega-3, long before fish oil, long before factory feed. Archaeologists have found its secrets in Bronze Age sites across northern Europe, proof that we've been growing it since the very beginning of farming itself. It was hardy, drought-tolerant, perfect for rotation, it needed almost nothing, and in return it nourished everything. Then came the 20th century and the race for higher yields. Soy, sunflower, rapeseed, all producing more oil per hectare, but malnourishing us at the same time. And so this golden plant, producing less but giving more, was quietly pushed aside. When it disappeared, so did a natural source of omega-3 in our food chain. Our soils weakened, our animals lost that balance, and our diets did too. The crop is Camelina sativa, once known as gold of pleasure. A humble little seed that once connected soil and animals and people through nourishment, not numbers. It balanced our soils, enriched our animals, and through them nourished us. If you're a farmer, I'm asking you to look into Camelina, grow a small plot, test it in your rotation, feed a little to your hens or cattle, see what it does. Because if this crop is grown widely again, it could help rebuild nutrition and restore balance to our farms, our food, and ourselves. That's what Golden of Olden is championing, a revival of an ancient oilseed that once connected us to nourishment, the land, and each other.
Had you ever heard of it? Put it in chat. They dropped it out in favor of GMOs and stuff over time, but they dropped it out when it came mechanized. They didn't like it. It had less seeds, and so they went over here. It had nothing to do with what was right, what was best, what was good. They changed it for the machine. And now what do you have to buy? What are you trying to supplement your stuff with? Omega-3, and they're selling it all over the place. It just got plucked out of the system. and you probably never heard of it. Doesn't deplete the soil, doesn't harm the soil, can be used as a rotation crop, the whole bit. And it's there. All of these answers have always been there. God provided every bit of this for this. And that's part of what I do in my books, folks. I'm trying to revive what has always been out there. I'm trying to get you, right? I'm trying to get you to literally get out of the system. Get out of the system. Somebody says, I like to forage, but ticks and Lyme disease are bad now. And you now basically are seeing the reports come out. It came out 2 weeks ago that Lyme disease was created in the lab and released. God's always been there for us to feed ourselves. It's there. And we've got to get away from this man-made system. On my books, you make sure you look for my name, whether it's food or whatever, even down to the lazies or your back porch or your container or whatever the case may be. I'm telling you, if you don't decide to break free, this is going to catch up with you. And it's probably going to hit you too hard when the Civil War comes and it's already done. Let me show you one of the little tips for growing. And by the way, this particular one, I changed my glasses. I detail in my book with No Dig. Here's one of the ones where I show you an interesting no dig productive technique.
You do not have to spend money to create soil. This is called hugelkultur. Not only do you get more surface area to plant onto, but it's constantly getting more nutrient rich. You put a bunch of logs down, and smaller logs, smaller.
This is really important because people say, well, my backyard's too small. I don't have enough space. People have been dealing with the same issues forever. There are solutions. The system just kept you away from them.
You do not have to spend money to create soil. This is called hugelkultur. Not only do you get more surface area to plant onto, but it's constantly getting more nutrient rich. You put a bunch of logs down, and smaller logs, smaller sticks, you mound it, and you can grow on both sides. And then you cover it with, this guy did straw. You don't want to use hay because there's a bunch of grass seeds in there. But you can make your own soil, grow your own food in a very small, this is almost like vertical gardening, except, anyway, don't do hydroponic. I mean, I can tell you not to do it, but what I'm saying is, if you talk to real organic, no-till farmers, they'll tell you hydroponic, it's not even farming. You can grow food that way, but it's kind of alien. But anyways, we should be discussing more organic agricultural practices because we know there's a bit of a storm brewing in the way that food is grown today with chemicals and whatnot. We're going to talk more about this plan on my Rumble.
I try to bring you these. Let me show you some people doing this and taking control of their own destinies and learning what the ancients knew.
If society collapsed in the next 24 hours, the first thing everyone should grow is the winged bean. The winged bean is one of the only crops that has more than just carbohydrates. These are one of the most protein-packed plants in the entire world, but it's still one of the most unrecognized fruits in the world.
How many of you have heard of winged beans? Not green beans, winged beans. Winged beans. I grow them.
If society collapsed in the next 24 hours, the first thing everyone should grow is the winged bean. The winged bean is one of the only crops that has more than just carbohydrates. These are one of the most protein-packed plants in the entire world, but it's still one of the most unrecognized fruits in the world. People would eat the leaves like spinach and the pods would be eaten like green beans. Even the roots of these plants can be eaten almost like a potato. The plant originated in the Pacific Islands in the areas that had longer nights. That's why it was so hard to grow it outside the tropical region. So people started breeding new varieties that could flower in different day lengths. But by then, soybeans had taken over the global market. That's why it was called the wonder crop of the tropics. So it went from a crop that could feed the entire world to a crop that some of you are just now hearing about, which is pretty insane.
It's not just food you're growing, it's your medicine cabinet.
One of the most worthless fruits that could save your life is okra. For 200 years, West African healers used okra to treat what we now call diabetes. They'd soak the pods in water overnight and drink the water to regulate their blood sugar. So it became one of their most trusted medicines. But when European doctors arrived, they called it worthless and refused to study it. So while okra kept people alive in West Africa, millions died from diabetes in Europe and America. European medicine refused to study it because it came from the wrong people. It wasn't until 2012 when researchers finally tested okra and confirmed what healers already knew. Now the same system that called it worthless is patenting the compounds from it, which is pretty insane.
Now I'm watching people talk about okra. Some saying I hate okra, some saying slimy. Okra is one of my most favorites. I'm telling you. Now for me, I'll give you a little tip. The seeds by which I plant my okra are my great-great-grandfather's seeds. I am planting the very same okra he was planting like in 1820. Saved the seeds and the families passed them down. I know somebody say, okra is actually amazing. And okra tastes great. Most people get exposed to what they call slimy okra, boiled. You can boil it. It's great in soups. It's a great thickener. But do you know you can pickle it? You can fry it. You can dry it. You can put them in your dehydrator, right? And they're one of the most amazing kind of like chips, right? And it has this really incredible taste, and it's good for you. It's pretty amazing. Okay, Steri's making a joke. It leads to hair loss. No. I just want to let you know, Steria, okra didn't lead to this hair loss. This is pure stress of having to roll up my anaconda every time I go to the restroom and having to deal with all that extra baggage. Oh, I see you don't have that problem, but that's okay. I'm telling you guys, okra, the bomb.
Oh, it has recently come to my attention that besides what these two chickens ate, a lot of people do not understand the difference between the two. This one you can go buy at Costco. This is a farm fresh egg. Besides how these chickens were raised, besides their living conditions, besides what they consume to produce these eggs, can we talk about the processing process for a little bit? Because no one seems to be talking about this. This is the thing that I think about when I go to a grocery store and I walk past the eggs, and I don't buy them, but this is one thing I think about. In order for these eggs, like commercial eggs, to go on the shelf of the grocery store, they have to undergo a certain chemical chlorine wash, which removes the natural bloom. If you don't know what the bloom is still on this egg here because I haven't washed it off. It is a natural protective layer. It's a protective coating that God designed when he made chickens, that when they lay this egg, it is sealed off so that bacteria cannot enter the shell, because shells are porous. When you wash that bloom off, which is why we don't wash farm fresh blooms off, right? We leave it so we can leave them on our counter for weeks and weeks at a time, and it is completely shelf stable. But as soon as you remove that bloom, now it's susceptible. Now bacteria and things can enter the shell, and that's why you have to refrigerate it. So not only are you just putting more risk of bacteria getting into your egg, but it undergoes a chlorine chemical wash in order for it to be kosher with our food system. And then that is also getting inside the egg. And then you're touching it, and you're cracking it open, and it's getting in your food, and you're consuming it. Gross. As if we're not already consuming enough chemicals. I recently just had the conversation with a friend about it because we're both on the same page about how that's what we dislike most about eggs from the store. It's not even necessarily the facilities that they're in, the confinements, or how they're fed, yada yada, but it's more of just like the processing. I want to wash off my own eggs before I'm cooking them. I want to have the satisfaction of knowing that it has been protected the whole time by the God-given bloom that this egg has. You see everyone talking about what the chickens are fed and what they're eating and how much sunlight they're exposed to, but you don't see a lot of people talking about
the bloom, chlorine and chemical washes done in the industry, and just the general understanding of what's happening in the egg industry. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you guys buy eggs from the store?
I don't buy eggs from the store. I think they're nasty. I think yesterday I looked and there were 36 eggs in the nest. And you put them in a bowl on the counter. You don't wash them. You don't store them in the fridge. Have them right there. You might wash them off real quick before you crack them or whatever. But you should never wash your fresh eggs. You never should. This is old knowledge that people forgot. You think about eggs and the high price of them, you can actually put eggs in a jar with, we'll just call it a lime wash, and you can store them for years. What's that? Yeah, they can be stored for years. But all of that went away with the commercial system because they didn't want you doing it and they sold it to you as convenience. Part of getting back to this is why I do this. You got to understand what the system did to us. You're going to have to do something about it. And it's going to happen in your lifetime, folks. Your kids quite possibly might not know, even your adult kids, how to take care of themselves. And if you fall with the 2030 agenda, I'm going to show you 3 short videos, but if you fall with the 2030 agenda, you cannot afford to deal with this when the shit hits the fan. Why? Because the shit hit the fan. This should be an active something you're working on right now, but you got to know the reasons because the system has broken everything apart, neutered it, took out the health, and then sells that shit back to us in parts.
Let's talk about fresh milled flour and why it's such a game changer. When you start with organic wheat berries and mill them fresh, you're preserving all of the nutrition that nature originally designed. A wheat berry has 3 main parts: the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. The bran is rich in fiber and minerals, the germ contains healthy fats, vitamins, and antioxidants, and the endosperm provides carbohydrates and protein for energy. When flour is commercially processed, the bran and germ are often removed to extend shelf life. That means that many of the most nutrient-dense parts of the grain are stripped away. Even when store-bought flour is labeled enriched, those nutrients are added back synthetically, not in their original form, whole food form. Fresh milled flour is different because it is used immediately after milling. It retains the natural oils, enzymes, and nutrients that begin breaking down as soon as the grain is ground. That's why fresh milled flour has more flavor, more aroma, and nutritional profile that's much closer to how people have eaten bread for centuries. And this is why fresh milled flour matters so much. Once wheat is milled, those nutrients and natural oils begin to degrade almost immediately. Store-bought flour can sit for months before it even reaches your kitchen. But fresh milled flour is used at its nutritional peak. That's why I'm intentionally working to include it in every baked good I make, because better ingredients truly make better food.
My family, from a farming standpoint, personal and otherwise, have all moved away 100% from all the commercial seeds, all the commercial grains. Even one member of the family specializing now in ancient grains. Only the ancient grains they stopped growing, which is biblical in nature, and the grains, which, you know, back then a loaf of bread would sustain you. You could. I mean, it's all the ancient grains. So our family have all moved to growing the ancient grains, and you should think about it too. And you should think about milling it on. You see what the system took out. Here's some other things you might not have heard of. You might want to put on your list.
So Martha, what are your top 5 incredible edibles that we can grow this year?
A chocha, which is unbelievably easy to grow. It produces pods that you can use a bit like green peppers, and I put them into tacos.
I grew tromboncinos for the first time this last year as well.
Oh, they're great.
They're great. They're kind of in between your standard kind of squash varieties and your courgettes.
Magenta giant goosefoot. I bought the seeds about 10 years ago and it's been coming up ever since. It's a green that you can use like spinach, but you can rub off this kind of like pink glitter. It is quite amazing.
Pink celery's great. I found that it grows a little bit easier than standard and it just adds so much colour. So if you're only going to grow one type of celery, I definitely suggest that you grow pink celery.
Chinese artichokes, which are little tubers that look like the arms of a Michelin man. Like a grub, perennial, really easy to grow, and they make super crunchy pickles. And then you keep a few, stick them in a pot, and they'll come back again next year.
Think about that, folks. You think that's great? Have you seen some of these? Right? Have you seen some of these? I'm fascinated with trying to do as many of these interesting things I'd never grown before. Right? Even if you have a farmer's market and whatever, some of these are really good. We are still working on the mushrooms book. That, I promise you, that will be done. We have to take extra care with that book. It's a lot more vetting than you could ever imagine. That's just part of the process, etc. Who put this in there? Was it Tom? Tom said he's 4 for 4 for bread. And he's fouled out each time, but he's great at other things. Most people don't know, like when grinding your own flour, you need to know these things about your mill. But let me tell you something real quick, because most people don't know. Yeah, we're doing the definitive mushroom book, and we've been working on it for a while. We're just not finished yet. I want to let you know, when it comes to your flours, just a point of reference before I show you the last video, you do understand there's bread flour, there's all-purpose flour, there's pastry flour, there's cake flour. Most people don't know that. See, like a cake flour, that's the softest. And you can buy these things or you can grind these things. It's only about the grind and what's in it. A cake flour, if you're making cakes, is the lowest protein flour there is, and it's only about 8 to 9% protein. And you're trying to figure out why your cake is so damn heavy and you can't get it fluffy, and you're using all-purpose flour because it's 12% protein. I didn't even know this. I had to learn it, right? Crystal's the expert among us doing things, right? People didn't know it. So you have to understand there's bread flour. If you're making breads, true breads, pizza, doughs, bagels, pretzels, you got to have the high protein flour. That's 14%. That's 14%. If you're going to make really bread, and I'd love to have Paul Stamets on. I know who Paul is. You need 14% protein flour. It's all about the gluten. All-purpose flour, that's what you make your cookies, muffins, pancakes, biscuits, and quick breads out of. Okay? Some loaves. But that's about 9 to 12% protein. It's a lower protein content. Your pastry flour, most people don't even know this. Your pastry flour is different. It's one level different than your cake flour. Your cake flour has one purpose, but pastry flour is 8 to 9%. Right? That's where you're going to make tarts, pie crust scones, tender pastries, biscuits, etc. It's basically so it stays softer and it's less chewy. All-purpose is kind of a middle of a road product that came out for convenience. Most people don't know this. But that's why you got two different products called baking powder and baking soda. And you got to get that right with all-purpose baking sour, baking soda to actually offset it, to actually make it work right if you're using all-purpose. So some of you, if in fact you're trying to bake bread, right, and don't know the difference in the flours, I think Tom said it, go get you some true bread flour. Start from there. And by the way, every flour company's process is different, and they might use different grains. And so what's going to happen is you are going to, if you're going to buy into one company's flour, you're going to want to look at their recipes for certain things because they tested them out. Some of them won't work with grandma's recipes. You're going to have to tinker with it. So start with their recipes first and do it right. It's pretty fascinating stuff. But why should you even consider doing any of this at all?
So we had to buy land because, well, you know, Satan worshipping pedos run the world and want to turn cities into digital prisons. And we had to become farmers because, well, you know, those same people are going to centralise the food system, ban meat and force everyone to eat genetically modified low-carbon crickets. And we had to dig a well because, well, you know, tap water is recycled from people's toilets, poisoned with fluoride and filled with chemicals that makes frogs go gay. And we definitely had to homeschool the kids because, well, you know, the mainstream education system is designed to crush a child's spirit and turn them into an obedient slave that unquestioningly plugs into the control system. And that was before they started teaching that there's 147 genders. And we had to build a like-minded community because no one is surviving Agenda 2030 solo.
You're right. None of us are going to survive it solo. While I'm trying to head this off, it's not just a hippie thing. By the way, just a point of reference, King Arthur Flour Company does a fantastic job. But what King Arthur Flour Company has done that other people hasn't is they have produced a definitive book teaching you the idiosyncrasies of each of the different grades of flour. And that's why so many people fail at baking and stuff, right? But they do have a book out on it you might look up, and I encourage you to. But the reason I do this, folks, it's all about us thinking in unison together. God gave us the secret for this. Each of us get our message and bend at our different beat, just like this, you know, when you get it, when you actually get that beat and you get that rhythm, you can see every one of these are different, and you can see the bottom moves. I showed this early in the program, and each of them are kind of setting the beat. And we're in this chaotic world every time where they're throwing things at us. But the reason we have to talk, the reason we have to be grouped together in this thing, right, is because we will actually end up getting in sync. The universe can't stop it. That's what they try to stop, throwing all these stories at us. But this is God's science, physics. We will get in sync, and that's what they're afraid of. If we get in sync, they can't stop us. And I do this to try to keep and get all of us in sync. We don't have to agree. It's not about agreement. It's only about clarity. We don't even have to have consensus. It's just about clarity. But we can't have clarity of what's going on if we can't even just simply talk about these things. That's it. And we have to talk about these things. I'm going to play for you each of the little promos so you understand the books I did. And it'll give you an idea. I talk about companion plants in here, all the different levels. This is a little bit different. This is a more advanced thing than just a regular garden. That's not what this is. This is if you're building the mega structure that's going to take care of your family and go on forever, and you really want to put the craft into it, right? To do it. That's what this is. This is biblical in nature. There's a lot of lost history out there, but the longest going of a food forest ever, 4,000 years in continuous productions. I'm telling you, the knowledge is out there, and that's why I do these things. But I want to warn you, people have copied my work, especially in the Food Forest Bible, because it was the first time it was ever done. And I made the mistake of publishing the ebook. They hacked it. They took parts out of it. It's not the whole thing we did. It's not companion plants. It's not all of that stuff. It's not what bugs, so you don't use any of it. It's been hacked, right? And you got to look for my name on it. They try to make it look like me, and one of them's pushing a political no meat agenda. It's horrible, and I don't want you to get mixed up on it. So first, let me show you all that you need to know on the Food Forest Bible and why I did it.
This crazy world is telling you your sons can be daughters and your daughters can be your sons. When will the madness stop? Never. So you have to decide, will you comply or defy? They tell us all, you will own nothing, eat bugs, and be happy. Is this why America's largest food processing plants and food supply plants keep burning down? Do you really think this is a coincidence? Of course not. The system is telling us right to our faces what they have planned for us. You have a choice. Comply or simply defy their plan for us all. Defy the system's plan and execute your own plan. Abundant, safe, secure natural food supply. Introducing the Food Forest Bible. This bestseller by Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is the single most complete, executable, easy-to-follow plan for sustainable, self-managing food production for self-sufficiency and food security. For the first time ever, a coffee table, heirloom quality full color book which unlocks the ancient secrets of creating a food forest. Imagine planting in a way which requires no digging, no pesticides, and creates massive ancient food abundance. No fooling. Food forests are the ancient secret to planning and planting once. And have your own Garden of Eden, which will feed your families for decade after decade. Buck the system. Buck the New World Order and order your very own copy of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's Food Forest Bible. Learn how to create a sustainable, self-managing, natural food production for self-sufficiency and food security for your family. Side yard, small yard, backyard, backlot, or even lots of acres, the Food Forest Bible works for everyone. Order on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, or ebook. Don't comply. Expertly defy the system.
Okay, so the second one I did in this series is this one called Ancient Secret for Growing Giant Fruit in Small Spaces. Most people don't have the patience for orchard and stuff. And this works great if you're in town, in the city, et cetera, right? There's an ancient way of accelerating your trees. And there is also a hack to where you can literally have small trees, but they'll instantly produce fruit. Now, in this particular book, I not only bring back some of the hacks and stuff, but I bring back some of the design techniques that are used where you can actually grow your fruit trees against walls. Yeah, it's called the espalier method. And so it's not about being out in the middle of your yard. See, people always think totally different about it. It's against your garage. It's against your patio wall. And basically what it is instead of having a tree be round and grow up and take all that space, you do not need to do that. You plant it immediately next to the wall, right? Your fence, whatever the case may be. It's not taking up your backyard space. And then you basically espalier them, you train them to grow in design. So, well, what happens is you espalier, you end up cutting out the center pieces and letting limbs grow a certain way. Now it gets sunlight everywhere, every direction, instead of fighting in the thing where you get these ugly trees. Well, byproduct of it is it produces bigger, better, more tastier fruit because it's not all this competition to grow it. But also, I teach you how you might have a neighbor's tree. Look around your neighborhood or where you drive. You'll see fruit trees everywhere. Most people don't take care of them. I teach you one thing you can do: knock on that neighbor's door and say, "Hey, can I take a clip off your tree? Just a limb, like, we'll call it 4 foot, 5 foot." But I show you how to do it. Now, why is that important? See, that tree sitting in your neighbor's yard or that farmer's field could be 50 years old. They probably haven't kept them right enough. I tell you how to look, and let's say you look for a 5 foot branch. I tell you how to clone that branch. Now, here's what's interesting. You go to a nursery and get a 5-foot fruit tree that's ready to go. That thing may be $189. You take it from that tree with a simple, we'll call it $1 of effort. When you take that limb, not only does it have the root ball, I'll show you how to do it, and you put it in the ground, that tree genetically is already a mature tree. Yeah. It's not a baby tree. It's a genetically grown producing tree. So it already knows to produce. And that particular limb does not know it's now been disassociated from the big tree. And it instantly produces fruit. Now, I'll give you an example. CMAC says that my apple tree has 100 clones on it then. CMAC, I'm going to tell you this. It's one of the easiest ways to make money with what you already have. It's one of the mini books I've got up on my book board I haven't done yet. But CMAC, let's just do some simple math, okay? You say you have 100 limbs, right? Is that a producing tree? Answer me in chat, okay? Answer me in chat, okay? So he's saying, well, then I've got an apple tree with clones on them, okay? Now, I want to let you know something. If you just took those limbs, you got 100 of them, it's going to cost you about $1 a piece. And you do what I'm telling you to do with them, you can now sell genetically aged, ready to produce fruit trees. You'll get about $89 a piece for them. That's $8,900 hanging on that one tree you're looking at right there that you've done nothing about. Which I kind of laugh at because my old bitch stepmother used to tell me, what do you think? Money grows on tree? Well, matter of fact, as an adult, I found out money fucking does grow on tree, and you can hack trees and do it. Let me show you what I cover in this book.
Exposing the ancient secrets of royalty to grow giant fruit in small spaces. You won't believe how easy it is. Hey there, fellow gardeners. Have you heard about Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's new blockbuster book, Ancient Secret for Growing Giant Fruit in Small Spaces? It's taking Amazon by storm. This isn't just any gardening book. We're talking about ancient methods once reserved for kings and queens, now revealed to the world. Yes, you heard right. Royal secrets for your backyard. Struggling with limited space? No problem. This book teaches you groundbreaking techniques to grow enormous, luscious fruits, even in the smallest of spaces. Imagine tricking fruit trees to bear fruit in months, not years, and growing produce up to 100% larger than what you find in stores. Sounds like magic, right? Pulitzer dives deep into history, uncovering how nobility ensured bountiful harvests. Now, these time-tested secrets are yours to transform your home garden into a paradise fit for royalty. Whether you're an urban dweller, a new homeowner, or an experienced gardener, this book has something for you. It's packed with practical tips and easy-to-follow methods. From enriching soil to perfect pruning techniques, you'll be growing giant fruits in no time. So why wait? Grab your copy of Ancient Secret for Growing Giant Fruit in Small Spaces now and start your journey to garden greatness. Your home is your castle. Let's make it majestic. Remember, gardening isn't just about plants, it's about connecting with history, nature, and your own little slice of Eden. Happy gardening.
By the way, you can. I'm seeing people chat about what I just said. You know, you can biohack almost any tree. You can biohack almost any tree. And people just don't understand it. But where did farmers get their orchards in the 1800s? Did they run to Walmart and Home Depot and whatever? They're making a sale, right? They're making a sale. Hold on. And you're not thinking about it. And you got to understand, we've had this forever, but the system intentionally made you forget it. You have abundance all around you. You have abundance almost in you can get rid of Japanese beetles. I did it. It's just basically a little organic bacteria you put in the ground and they get rid of the Japanese beetle, and it worked like wonders. I'll do a program on it one day. Anyway, in your city, there are fruit trees all around you, right? Yes, you can use cut branches and root hormones to grow trees. In fact, that's part of the formula. I tell you to do it. I just don't dip it in hormone and put it over in water and wait for it to happen. I do a different hat that makes sure that it works. You got to understand, let's just take a fig tree. If it was a very tiny cutting, right, for a fig tree, it's going to take 3 years for you to get any figs. You can do this, what I've told you in this one book. You can do it and do it 1 year, and then the next season you got figs, right? You got figs, right? There's so many things you could do. And now this book, there are different people doing different things. Some people like containers. I mix mine up, filled containers, the whole bit. You got maybe an apartment patio, maybe you have a condo, maybe you have a small backyard. Maybe you're just lazy. You don't like digging. I don't dig to plant anymore. Once I learned not to dig. Now, I grew up, what do? You fucking till the garden. Am I right? You till the garden. I learned that was wrong. I had no idea. And look at how many of us, right? How many of us go out and till. And when I looked at why do I till, and I love, breaking the earth and tilling it under and seeing the black dirt. It's how my dad did it. It's how my grandpa did it or whatever. I was wrong. When I finally learned the truth, don't ever do that. Do not ever do that. And I really learned how to do it. And I learned that tilling is soil abuse. Yeah, you're right. Kills the soil. I am killing the very thing I need. Then I learned an interesting trick. I learned how to grow soil. I learned how to grow soil. The most priceless thing there is. I wrote this book for those of y'all that don't want to dig or do anything like that, but you still want to have control of some of your, right, food.
Why do 80% of gardeners struggle with weeds? Because they haven't discovered no-dig gardening yet. Imagine a garden where you spend less time digging and more time harvesting. Sounds like a dream, right? No-dig gardening is your key to a sustainable, low-maintenance and incredibly productive garden. By layering organic matter like compost and mulch directly on the soil, you'll boost soil health, reduce weeds, conserve water and save tons of time and energy. Plus, you'll be supporting biodiversity and preventing soil erosion. It's a win-win. Whether you're a seasoned green thumb or just starting out, no-dig gardening, cultivating abundance the natural way. By Jovan Hutton Pulitzer has all the expert insights you need. From site selection to layering techniques, this book is your ultimate guide to a flourishing, eco-friendly garden. So are you ready to embrace abundance, freedom and harmony with nature? Grab your copy today and start transforming your garden with no-dig magic. Why do 80% of gardeners struggle with weeds? Because they haven't discovered no-dig gardening.
No-dig's amazing. I will never dig. And by the way, yes, some of the soil stuff's in that book. I do have a book coming out. I usually have 5 or 6 books I'm in process on, and one is growing dirt. I'm going to teach you. You know how they used to insult farmers? You're just a dirt farmer. I'm going to teach you how to become a dirt farmer for yourself. And oh, by the way, one of the biggest things out there in self-sufficiency is growing dirt for others. I know that sounds really weird, but I know a guy that has a 1 acre plot. That's it. 1 acre. And he is in what's called glacial till soil, rocky pebbles, whatever, right? And he plants a particular combination of grasses in that soil. They go to a certain height. He tills them under and then covers it. And when it's uncovered, it's about this deep in jet black, the most beautiful soil you can ever imagine. And he makes $1 million a year growing dirt. He is a dirt farmer. Everything that people won't do for themselves because they just can't get around to it, he does. Oh, yes, put a wire mesh under your raised beds. He does. Growing dirt is now one of the most incredible revolutions there are. And all he does is advertise it on Craigslist and Facebook, and he can never grow enough. And he's not going to expand past that because it's about all he can do. But he just advertises on Facebook and the local nurseries or whatever and lists the components. 100% organic grown dirt. He makes $1 million on an acre of land, and that's all he does. He is literally a dirt farmer. It's kind of like living soil, but a dirt farmer. It's a big, big, big opportunity. And I'm telling you, if you're of retirement age or whatever, you should learn these things. Just like the biohack on fruit trees. You may never have thought about it, but fruit trees may be your future. And you don't need a big market. I'll tell you why. When you go to a Home Depot or you go to a Lowe's, like most people do, or Walmart for their fruit trees, they carry a generic array. Okay? But they're not really optimized for where you live. They're not optimized for where you live. Why do you put wire mesh under raised beds? So the moles, voles, and rats don't come up from underneath and eat all your plants underneath. It happens. Anyway, when I look around, I see money everywhere. And when you think about just the very small community you're in and running an ad in Craigslist, hey, do you have a mature fruit tree that's, has done well for you? I'm just looking for trees in the region done well for you. I'd just like to get a cutting. You'll be flooded. Peaches, pears, apples, all this stuff. But trees that worked in your immediate, we'll call it a 30-mile circle. Could be 50 mile, doesn't matter. And you take a weekend and you run around, you're going to do this grafting system, you graft it. You might, and you just let them wait and do what they're going to do, and then you go cut them. Literally, you could have hundreds, if not thousands, of trees. You plant your own, the little black pots. Now you get about 25 cents, or you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart, and they throw them away all the time, and you can gather them up. It's nothing. Put your soil in it, put the tree in it, let it grow a little bit. But you will sell trees only that are genetically proven to produce exactly in that region. How many people plant a tree from Walmart or something, and the tree might grow but never produces any fruit? It's because it really wasn't adapted for that region, and they wasted their money. You can sell these trees, but you can also do a guarantee nobody else can do. And you know what that is? You could offer a 3-year guarantee. I kid you not. Take the tree, it's genetically raised right for your region. Here it is to produce fruit. Sell it at a great price. Put it out there and tell them if in 3 years it's not producing, it will before that, but it's not to your liking, let me know. Pull that tree out, bring it to me, and I'll give you another one. It costs you nothing. Truly, costs you not a damn thing. And you give an ironclad guarantee it's climatized, genetically predisposed for your region. Again, that's where you need to go. Some people write 75-gallon trees. My last buy was 75 individual gallon trees. Okay. I thought you meant a 75-gallon tree. Trees are through the roof. But if you have the thumb and you're planting it anyway, why would you not take, some of the stuff of how do you clone a tree and put it there and do 1,000 little cuttings and have them set there? Do you not realize that's $89,000 sitting in your backyard ready to go? You just got to get around to it. That's the difference. That's the difference between a Lowe's trees or a 4 trees, 75 gallons each. Dina, what'd you pay for them? Lowe's trees, Walmart trees, Home Depot trees. It is very rare for them to actually produce fruit. But if you take a little time, you drive. I like to drive the back roads around. I just make notes with my GPS, who has what tree or whatever. I'll run little things, say, hey, I'm looking for peach trees that have successfully grown in the area. I've struck out. I can't get any of them to grow. Can I go get a cutting from your tree? I'll even do an extra cutting for you if you want. You'll get them for free. But that tree has grown there, and you use this hack. They think Dina said she paid $5,000 a piece for 75-gallon trees. The tree business is an interesting business. You take that regional tree you got for nothing, and you yourself grow it to a 6-foot producing tree, and you keep it in the container size, you're going to get $900 for the tree. And bat guano is great. And yes, Stark Brothers sell bare root trees. They do. I'm just taking it to the next level. That's it. Just go to the next level. Right? Oh, $1,250 each. Thank you. This is found money. And it's all over the place. It's found money. You want me to give you another hack for those of you that are in Mississippi's, Texas, Louisiana, etc.? I learned this. I did it myself. All through a lot of those bottomlands are muscadine grapevines. You'll see them all along the side of the road. All these let me see if I can find a bit. Hang on. I don't know if any of you ever abandon apple orchards. I go look for old ghost towns where cities used to be and they went out. All of them have old fruit trees. By the way, they also have lily bulbs and colors that most people have never seen. Now's the time to get out to abandoned sites, find all those funky colors, dig them up, transplant them. Now you're in the lily business. It's all out there. Anyway, you can literally find some of these old grapevines. Those old grapevines are mature. And a lot of these, especially Virginia's and Tennessee's, you see some of these grapevines out there. You don't realize those were brought from overseas and they successfully here. And you should be digging and pulling up those grapevines. For me, when I see this, it's only about time. All of it. It's just about time. Can we get to it, right? We never make time for, I'll get around it, right? But here's the deal. I just want you to understand. There's money out there. There's more out there than you can ever imagine. And people are going back, ironically, to their roots. People want to be self-sustainable. I've watched people move into a new place and has all these fruit trees, and they cut the fuckers down because of all the fallen fruit. I've also been on the other side at one of my homes in Frisco, Texas, where I planted fruit trees in my front yard because I like the decorative blooms and stuff, and they produce, like apricot trees, produced in abundance, only to find out that the homeowners association forbid anyone from having fruit trees. I never checked. I can't tell you how sick I was. I had to cut down nectarine and apricot trees. I was fucking sick, but I had to do it. But that, folks, when you look out there, there's money out there. Maybe you don't want to plant a garden. Maybe you don't want to do a food forest. But maybe you're 60 years old or 65 or whatever. You wonder how the fuck I'm going to retire. Or maybe you just have debt. You want to pay off your debt? Get yourself out and biohack trees. Oh, by the way, the same fruit tree, if you will do some of the designs in here, there's designs. It's not just a fruit tree, but if you will go and do the design, the same tree you would sell for $89 because it's regional, grow it into a design and begin the training. Now it's $299 because you train the design like a candelabra, and they can just plot it and go, everybody wants shortcut. But that money's out there. Nothing prevents you from doing it. Not a damn thing prevents you from doing it. Not a thing, not a thing, not a thing, not a thing. Except we just never find time to do it. But all this knowledge is at hand, and that's the kind of knowledge that I'm trying to bring back. And I'm telling you, when I think about this, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a civil war in the United States. Might not be coast to coast, but it's going to happen in our lifetimes. The key is never give up. The key is never give up. That's the only difference. Never give up. I had a cousin that planted like 50 acres in apple trees in a ground that was not really conducive to apple trees. But he decided he was going to, Amazon's where you get my books, folks. And that's the only place that is now doing full color hardbound print. I can't get around it. Okay. But I had a cousin that planted massive field of apples. But his ground wasn't acidic enough. And you can actually come back and you can spray the land, believe it or not, with battery acid. And put the acid in the ground. And he went at it and planted it. They didn't work, and then he just gave up. But there were 1,000 other crops you can do. And one of the ones that I'm scientifically working on that I pretty much perfected and now know can do, if you live in a particular type of soil, and you predominantly know it because it grows oak trees really well, then I'm going to release a program where you're guaranteed you can grow truffles. I'm not talking chocolates. I'm talking the mushrooms that grow underground. And those sell between $3,000 and $35,000 a pound. And the trees will produce those for 70 years. I'm always figuring this stuff out and doing it. My wish for anybody would get off the system. Fucking get off the system. Get out, get off the system, guys. But at very least, think about your backyard and your front yard. Don't let them distract us with all the bullshit stories and whatever. because they want to get us out of sync. And what we need to do, right? What we need to do is get in sync. And the way we do this is by gathering and talking. The way we do this is to continue, keep clicking away at it. And if we just keep doing what we're doing, clicking away, and we tend to gather and we tend to share whatever, a magical thing happens that God made happen in the universe. Every single one of us, in very short order, get in perfect sync, even the most belligerent ones. And when we are in perfect sync, we are unstoppable. And so it's about never giving up, and it's about talking, and it's about sharing. And I want to say, God bless you for every one of you that share our program, that support our work. I love you all. Share this one.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.